Marsha, are you going to finish that client this century? Or should I go over there before she goes geriatric? You know what? Oh, what would you know? You can go have fun over there. My favorite client just walked in. Oh, yes, you know I mean it. I don't say that to anyone else. Oh, you shut up. I'm glad to see you again. It's been so long. What has it been, like 3 weeks? I can't believe you go so long. You look nice and ready for the salon. Oh, come on. You know I'm joking. Okay, listen, sit down. Listen. We're gonna do, what do you think? We're gonna do, should we color? Do you want me to do your perm again? It's kind of holding. You just want to cut. You said you want quick. Can I do it quick? You know me. I only do quick. I'm the fastest in the game. You know that. Come sit down. You don't want to wash. Okay, well, the tip better be the same. That's all I gotta say about it. Listen, I'll do a quick cut. That's what you want. I understand. No, I understand. Do it your way. If that's what you want. I'm just glad to see you again. You know, I was worried about these, these ends. They tend to get split if you stay away too long, okay? That's why it's good for you to come to me as often as you can, okay? And then we can fix everything up for you, okay? You really should. You want me to leave it like this? Can I add some hairspray? Okay. It's very flat, which makes it easier to cut, but God, I don't want you to come out of the salon like that. People might walk by and think, what are they doing there? What are they charging them for? Come sit down. Okay, let me just, so how much do you want off? Just a trim. Okay. You want me to fix up some layers? No. Just a little for me? Okay. And I can trim your bangs too. Because they're really falling. Yeah, they're falling in your face. Okay, yeah, we'll do that too. Don't worry. I'm worried, but you don't need to worry. Because I'll be okay. Okay, let's go. So how have you been? Good? Okay. It's been 3 weeks. It's like, whole world happened over here. You can't even believe the things that have been happening over here. Yeah. Well, do you want to know or not? You're always busy. You're doing, your thing. You want this to go. You want it to be in the middle part, or do you like to part it over? Like that. Okay, good. Yeah, we'll cut it like that. 1 second. Some Diet Coke. I was talking to my mother, and she's like, there's no less sins in a Diet Coke versus a regular Coke. And I said, Mother, this is why I don't come to you for advice. Anyways, I was talking to, well, if you really want to know, I was talking to Deborah. I was talking to Deborah last Wednesday when I go over to her place, we watch Dynasty. And I was over at her place, and she tells me a very interesting story, okay? She told me that she said that she was seeing a guy, and he keeps saying that he's like 5'11" or something, and she's like, that man is not 5'11". And I'm like, first of all, what a weird height to lie about, might as well round up. But she's more on that later. She's like, oh, like, he says he's 5'11", but I don't think that man even passes 5'9". And I said, really? And she's like, I like everything else about him, but why is he lying about that? And I get that, because people lie about one thing, they could be lying about anything, you know what I mean? And I know that people get insecure, you know what I mean? People always like, oh, like, I don't want to tell, people like to round down on some things, round up on other things, especially with guys, they just like, they don't like being short. And I'm like, if you don't like being short, then, maybe you shouldn't have been born in Jersey, but okay. But she's telling me about this, and I'm like, okay, that's really interesting. And I go home, and I was talking to my husband, and I was like, isn't that interesting? Because Deborah's new man, new whatever, he's telling her that he's, however many inches taller than he is. And he looks at me without missing a beat and he says, I'm really 5'11", right? My whole marriage. 6 foot, 6 foot. I'm 6 foot. Of course I'm 6 foot. Of course I'm 6 foot. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I'm 5'11". I said, why would you lie to me? And he's like, well, it matters to girls. I'm like, you really think I wouldn't be with you if I knew that you were 1 inch less? Come on. I always have my suspicions, for the record. He's always got to use the stool to get to the top shelf. But I'm not gonna judge him. What's 1 inch? What's 1 inch? Not the inch that matters, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, but I thought that was terribly funny, but that wasn't, of course, the big details that came out. Not the really, the big stuff that's coming out. What's really important. Well, so on Wednesday, it's important that, because that's really when we dish. And she's telling me, first of all, also, we had to another argument. Okay, I'm not trying to get into the weeds with Deborah, but let me just say. So she says to me, we were playing some music and it was playing on the radio. The Mary Jane Girls, come on, you know how I feel about the Mary Jane Girls. I love the Mary Jane Girls. And we were talking about it, and we were talking about girl groups, and I was talking about, it's like, I like to see more girl groups. We haven't had girl groups in a long time. I grew up, and there was ronettes, and there was the Supremes, and, we had those kinds of girl groups, and the girls would go together and they'd sing. And I like that. And we were talking about that. And then we were talking about Vanity 6. She was like, I can't deal with a bunch of whores like that on TV. And I said, I think you need to deal with the whore in... Sorry, I wouldn't call her daughter a whore. I wouldn't say it if she was an adult, but she is. So I said, I think you should deal with the whore in your house. And then she got really mad at me. But listen, all I'm saying is, I have it out for her daughter. I don't have it out for her daughter. She was, I don't want to get into it, but she was really rude to my daughter. And I'm just saying, like, you should maybe, you're mad at a girl for, wearing like lingerie on TV, and your daughter, goes around stealing other girls' boyfriends. But that's just, that's really neither here nor there. I mean, it's really just no one's business, really. Yeah. Anyways, but what else do we talk about? But it's okay. We got over it, so whatever, how it is, you just take some out, you dish it, whatever. You can't really get caught up on that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? What else? My daughter's telling me, poor girl, bless her, she needs a little bit. She got a new job, and she's working with some guy, and you know how there's always those guys who just like, they only like to, how do you think about this long for the layer? Or you want shorter? A little more volume? Because then, you don't always style it, so it's good too. So it's just like naturally it's a little higher. What do you think? You'll do it? For me? Okay. So my daughter, she got a new job, and she's waitressing at this place. And it's a really nice place. It's a ritzy place, okay? It's in Manhattan, okay? It's uptown. She's going uptown, you know what I'm saying? And I was talking to her, and she says to me that her coworker is like hitting on her. And I said to her, first of all, you should never mix business with pleasure. So that's the first rule of everything, okay? Why do you think we don't? Why do you think all the guys that we hire here, they only, they're not. And I try to date other girls in here. I'll just say that much, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, but I'm dating many girls anyway. But anyways, so I was talking to her, and I was like, well, what do you mean? Da, da, da. And she's like, yeah, he's always hitting on me. I was like, you just gotta shut that down. That can't happen. And then she finds out that, like, there's just those guys, they only date people that they work with. I don't get that. That's rule number 1. You never mix business with pleasure, okay? I love my husband. I don't want to see him any more than I already do, okay? Sorry. Diet Coke was getting to me. But, it's just like, we see each other home. That's great. Could you imagine you work with someone, and then you get off your work, and then you go with them home again? Oh my God, do you do anything else? I don't know, I can't stand people like that. Go do something else, get a hobby. I don't know. Some people need a life. I just told her, you just keep your head up, okay? You don't get into people like that. You want to meet someone. You go out. You go to a nice bar. You go with your friends. You go, just anywhere. You meet people anywhere, really. Well, speaking of meeting people anywhere, my son might join a bowling team. I know. Listen, I know a lot of people want football stars, but that's just not on the card for a lot of kids, so I don't know. He seems into the bowling. I said, okay, hey, you could have caught me 10, 15 years ago at the roller rink, so what are you going to say? Is that bad? You can bowl if you want, keeps you agile, because it keeps your wrist agile. I don't know. It's his thing, you know what I mean? Anyways, what else? I want to say something real, not just about my life. I know I'm going on about my life. I'm sorry. Well, where were we? Well, there's not much drama here at the salon. Well, no more than there already is. That's why you should come back more. You really get filled in on the details. But essentially, well, the other thing it's like not that big of a deal, but it's kind of a big deal, is that, well, okay, hear me out. So there was this one girl who no longer works here, but did work here 3 weeks ago, and she was just you probably remember her. Okay, yeah, it's Joan. It was Joan, whatever. Joan left. Yeah, she quit. I know. So, allegedly with many things. I think really she was really upset about being left out of Dynasty viewing events on Wednesdays. But in my defense, Joan is a skank. No, I shouldn't say that. But it's true. First of all, she flirted with my husband, okay, at the holiday party. I invited her to my house, okay? She's sitting here, she has the audacity to eat my deviled eggs and try and mess with my husband. Let's talk about it. And so she did that, but then it really got to a head because we found out that not only she was taking other girls' like products, like hairspray and stuff, so she didn't have to pay for it. And at first I walked up I kind of was like, is like something wrong? Like she like having money or something? But no, she takes things. And then we found out that she took money from the register, and we were like, you gotta go. But before we could say that, she literally quit because of course she knew she was gonna get fired. I know, isn't that crazy? She was always a little weird. She could cut hair like a menace though, but she was always a little odd. And I was like, you just gotta get it together. Some people, they just gotta get it together. You know what I mean? It's like you got all the raw materials, gotta bring it together. But they miss on the final step. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like her though. I mean, she was okay, but she always had some comments about her son was like kind of an interesting kind of boy. He was trying to find himself. He was living in the city, and he really liked to wear like all the celebrities wear makeup. I don't know why makeup is such a big deal when like someone does it, because all the celebrities always wear makeup. Even the boys, they got foundation on and they got eyeliner on, and they don't know that because they don't work in beauty. They just see everything. But anyways, her son was always going out to the clubs, and he liked a lot of eyeliner and like eyeshadow and stuff, and she was always like, like saying some stuff about it. And I said, first of all, it's your son. I don't know why you would say that. But second of all, like, you're acting like we didn't grow up. If you were kind of a free person, a couple of years ago when we were growing up, you were probably painting a flower on your forehead, okay? So I don't really know why it's such a big deal. Other people do other things, But she never had the best taste. Let me just tell you that. She really never had the best taste. She never had the best taste in men either. That's why she wanted mine. Okay, let me see your bangs. think I have worked my magic officially. Let me show you, okay? Oh, I know. I shouldn't have worked so fast because I got more stuff to tell you, but you're gonna have to come back in a couple weeks. What do you think? Looks good. Yeah. Okay. Good to hear. I'm so glad to hear. Well, you want me to style a little bit? Of course you do. Of course you do. Come here. Come here. Let me tell you a little more, okay? Let me just, you've got a natural, like, nice, like, curl to your hair. Let me put a little bit of gel, okay? I'm gonna put some gel on it, just to really get it locked in. And then we're gonna spray it, okay? And it's gonna be set for life, okay? Or at least until you wash it. Sorry, it looks fine. Don't worry. So yeah, no, it's been a lot. I mean, Joan's left, which thank God, but also now I got like a lot more. We're looking for someone new. I don't know if you know anyone. No, I don't know. You would really have to give her. You'd need to give her my information. Yeah? Is she, annoying? Gonna add a chaos to this environment? No? Okay, then tell her to quit it. We need people to talk about around here. Okay. Just let her know. You can tell her to come in, okay? And we could ask her, is she certified? Do you know? Well, if she is, she can come in, okay? Let me think, is there anything else really going on? Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to tell you. Okay, so you remember, what's her name? We went to high school together. Marjorie. Yeah. So, you remember her, right? Okay. I found out. Her husband's a producer. He does like all sorts of off-Broadway big stuff, And she said that I don't know, I ran into her, like a couple of years ago now. And, come to find out, her husband is cheating on her with one of the stars in his show. I know. You think a girl has it all, but she really doesn't, Isn't that crazy? And I also found out that her husband is a major fucking bore and a snooze, because I was there. I went and I saw the show that he was producing, and I was there with a girlfriend, and we were all there. We were there together. And she was telling me a little bit about what she heard about him. Is that it's a long story how we got this information, okay? Listen, he told someone, I can't remember who now, he told, that he was worried he didn't have any friends, but he doesn't talk to anyone. All he does is talk to this girl, and then his wife that he lies to. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, what is wrong with you? It's enough to cheat, but it's even worse when you're like a loser. You know what I mean? Because it's like, now you're wasting everyone's time. And he says to me, he's like, oh, he came to me, and he was like, you always are. After the show, he sees me, because I remember, like, he knows me through Marjorie, sort of. I mean, he kind of remembered me, but anyways, he's like, you're always so social. How are you so social? Always talking. I said, it's easy. You kind of just keep going. And I love talking to people. I love hanging out with people. And he said, that's so interesting. I really only go places when people invite me first. And that to me was more offensive than the cheating. I said, what kind of way is that to live life? How are you gonna, sorry, I'm like, tease this before I waste your time forever. I said, How are you gonna live life like that? How are you gonna live life like that? That's why you don't have any real like connections with anybody. You're not hanging out with anybody really. You're not hanging out with anyone really. You know. Anyways, isn't that odd? We gotta really this level, okay? I promise you. Very odd. Yeah, I did know he was cheating when I saw him, but you know, it's not really my business to tell her unless if she asks. But I don't know. I didn't feel like I should, you know. It's just weird, you know. And it's not like we were very close, and I also don't very much like her, so it's not really in my best interest to tell her. You know, that's how it is, you know. Sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna spray this. Okay, close your eyes. It's going everywhere. Okay. All right. You're done. I know. You should have stayed. Next time we're gonna have to do the perm, okay? Well, it was very nice to see you again too. Alright. You want to spritz some perfume or something? Let me give you something else. Just so you don't smell totally like Aquanet all day. There you go. Although I quite like the hairspray, but you know, I'm very used to it, so maybe it's just embedded in my DNA or something. I don't know. Alright, well, it's very wonderful to see you. Yes, it's very wonderful to catch up with you, okay? Next time I see you, you gotta do something crazy so you can tell me a story, okay? Yeah. Well, it was great to see you. You can check out at the front, okay? Okay? I was like, yeah, just belly for the cut, okay? The styles on me, that was 5 minutes, okay? That was basically just for me to tell you another story, you know? Yeah. Well, I'll see you soon, okay? And you make sure you tip at the front. Okay? Okay. Okay. It was lovely to see you.